104.5 ESPN, Baton Rouge.
What the hell's going on out here?
Now, here's Jimmy Ott and Charles Hannegriff.
Yeah, for some reason or another, you sound a little taller on radio.
Is it live?
From Walkons in Brusly, welcome to Live at Lunch, Monday edition, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge. Charles Hannegriff along with Jimmy Ott, and back in the studio, Jordan Kitchens. Glad to have you with us on a Monday. We're back on our non-press conference schedule here at Walkons. We're back on at 11 o'clock. Jimmy, how was your holiday weekend?
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Good.
You get your oyster dressing all
All done. Yeah, it was good.
That's the big part of it is, being with family, and hope everybody had a great weekend and enjoyed it. Enjoyed some or all of the football. There was plenty of it. So let's get right to it. LSU finishes the season on a high note, beating Oklahoma and finishing the season at 8-4, which is not what anybody wanted, but is not completely out of whack. Jimmy, at the beginning of the season, back into the summer, LSU's win total was about 9, right? 8.5, 9, somewhere in that area.
Yeah, it was right around 9. I can look back and see exactly. I'm pretty sure it was 9. I was telling you I just can't get off of 9.
Right, and that was a reasonable prediction for them with what they had coming back and what they had on the schedule. So they finished somewhere in the vicinity of that. Was this everything that they wanted out of this season? No. Was it a disaster? No. Can it be improved upon? Yes. I mean, the beauty's in the eye of the beholder thing. Kind of, if you want to look at this season, I look at it as a sort of a building block, but something that has some real concerns that you have to address moving forward. Brian Kelly in the post game is talking about national championships and things like that. That's fine. I got no problem with him wanting to use that as a goal and use that as motivation. Now you just gotta go out and do it. But before we get to big picture, let's just get to this game. I know that when Garrett Nussmeier went out of the game, the odds changed dramatically. That ought to be a telltale sign to the future. When you say, would you rather have Nussmeier or not have Nussmeier? Well, guess what? This team looks a lot different when he's not quarterback, and there's nobody coming from Michigan to be the quarterback. So you're way better off with him. But he showed a lot of toughness by coming back. Defensively, they had a couple of breakdowns in the first half, but in the second half, they were about as good as they have been. They dared Jackson Arnold to throw the ball over their head. He did it once, but not a second time. They got enough of a run game going to produce enough balance to keep Oklahoma a little bit off guard. They controlled the second half, and they won the game convincingly. Okay, Oklahoma 6-6. But a week ago, they beat Alabama 24-3 and dominated in that game at their place. Yeah, home and away makes a big difference. So it's a good way to finish the season. But how you feel today, I don't know. I
think it's a slight fail this year.
It's a disappointment. A slight fail, disappointment. Okay, we're basically saying the same thing. They could have done a little bit better.
You got to be. I mean, it's year 3.
You would have liked to have been better. You like to have been.
He's got the lay of the land. He's you could have been in a playoff. There's going to be some teams in the playoff you're as good as or can smack up with. I mean,
if South Carolina or Ole Miss gets in, the teams you beat
probably not going to get in.
Probably not, but they could. If Alabama gets in, it's a team that routed you. Those are the teams that are, right there on the bubble. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Well, you certainly determined who's going to get in then, huh?
Me?
No, LSU.
You had a say in it for sure.
I mean, if you come down to those 3 teams and being not, well, either one of Ole Miss or South Carolina beats LSU instead of loses, they're in.
That's right.
If Alabama loses to LSU, they're out.
That's right. That's right. Well, when you play in the Southeastern Conference, you're going to be determined in the face of 3, 4, 5 teams that are either just in the playoff, just on the bubble, or just out of the playoff. I suspect that'll be, what the future will be, that the SEC will always have about that number of teams in. So if you play 8 teams in the league, yeah, you're gonna determine the fate of a lot of them. The one game that'll go down that is the biggest disappointment on this schedule is not Alabama or A&M or USC. It'll be the Florida game. Because lo and behold, all of the tiebreakers, we did this 3 weeks ago when LSU lost to Florida. It's like, hey, all right, before they played Florida, hey, you know what? Even with the 2 losses, you can still get in if a lot of things fall your way. And guess what? They all did. Everyone except the one you controlled. So if you had beaten Florida, not Alabama, not at A&M, if you had beaten Florida, you'd be playing Georgia in Atlanta today. And that'll probably be the most disappointing thing that you came up short of that goal.
Well,
with a very achievable team to beat. You were favored on the road, which means that they think you're a good bit better than that team. Hard as Florida played down the stretch. You're capable of winning that game, and you didn't. That'll be the one.
No argument. Mile fail.
A mile fail.
I mean, one game away from what you were projected to be. But the LSU's even in year one, Charlie, LSU's program's at a place where it's kind of where it is now. It's playoff or bust. That's really kind of your barometer if it's a success or a failure. Mm-hmm. Now, you got to try and do something in the playoffs.
Yeah.
But if you don't make it, that's a level of disappointment.
Moving forward, signing day is on Wednesday. You got to keep the rest of this class together.
How is that going?
Pretty well. To my knowledge, they haven't lost anybody since Underwood that they didn't know that they were going to lose. And Derek Meadows is still listed as an LSU commitment, the receiver from Bishop Gorman. But I think everybody knows that he's a commitment kind of on paper only, that he'll be at Michigan on Wednesday whenever he announces that. And then that leaves Jakeem Stewart, the big defensive tackle out of New Orleans, which is going to come right down to the end. And it's going to come down to the same thing that the other big recruits are coming down to. It's going to come down to money. I don't care what anybody else tells you. It's going to come down to money, and it doesn't make him unique. So that's Frank Wilson country, okay? Frank knows Carr. Frank knows Og. Frank knows this kid. He knows New Orleans. Okay, so Frank Wilson's on staff to get kids like Jakeem Stewart to LSU. Right. So he's got 2 days to wrap that up. I suspect that'll come right down to the wire. USC is a big player there. After that, you get into the portal. We started to see some of the portal movement. Ricky Collins, not unexpectedly, put himself in the portal last night. He won't be the last. There'll be a number of kids on the way out. There's rumors that Harold Perkins will be putting himself into the portal. That could happen at any time. Don't know if that's going to be happen for sure, but Perkins has got a decision to make about his future. Is it here? Is it somewhere else? Is it in the NFL? Don't know. He was out on the field on Saturday night. We'll see what happens there. Nothing has happened yet, at least in the last 20 minutes or so. And then LSU's got to take a look at what they're going to do at quarterback. Garrett Nussmeier said after the game that he would play in the bowl game, that he would definitely play in the bowl game. So that gives you a pretty good indication that he's at least, strongly considering coming back. And I think if I had to guess right now, Jimmy, I'd say that he is going to come back. We talked about this a lot on Football Sunday yesterday. We talked about it with Rohan. We talked about it with Mike Delicano. I think, as I know you do, LSU will be way better off with Garrett Nussmeier next year. And Garrett Nussmeier will be better off when he gets to the NFL with another 12 to 15 starts under his belt. Now, would Garrett Nussmeier be a first-round pick if he went into this draft? I think there's a real good possibility that he could be. That if he went to pro day and looked good and went to the combine and looked good, would he get into the first round? I think there's a real good chance that he could. Not saying he definitely would, but he could. But would he be ready to take on the responsibilities of being a number one quarterback in the NFL right now? If you're a first round pick, they're going to rush you to the front. I would say he would be a lot better off and more prepared if he came back for another year. And his father, who's a quarterbacks coach with the Eagles now and has a long, long resume in college and the NFL, is going to advise him as such. So we'll see what he does. LSU's got to get in the portal and get a quarterback. What type of quarterback depends on whether Nussmeier comes back or not. If Nussmeier comes back, then you're looking for a guy with some experience that can step in and fill the two deeps. If Nussmeier goes pro, then you're looking for a starter. And Garrett Nussmeier's earned the right to take as long as he wants with this decision. That's, it's his talent, it's his future, it's his career, but it would help if LSU knew what he was going to do. The sooner the better. So he said he hadn't made a decision on Saturday night, and I didn't expect him to announce anything after the game. So he's got that call to make. Well,
sometimes it can be, for, hey, you're just pulling for LSU and you want, the best for LSU. And that's certainly, for you guy to come back another year. But you said he could develop, and sure, that would help him develop more starts. But also with his stock. And it's become, this is where we are, where there's been quarterbacks that have had way more starts in college because you had that extra year, and you had these guys like Bo Nix and Brock Purdy who had 50-plus starts, Jaden Daniels. They're benefiting from all of those starts. And it is, and some of the others that haven't had as many starts are having some struggles. And so that is not just the obvious, more seasoning, the more reps, the better the development, but also his stock. They're going to value a guy with more starts now. And the magic number is 25. And that's where they are with the and listen, and no, not all 32 teams are on board, but kind of known within the industry now. Hey, that's kind of the magic number. Man, beware a guy doesn't have 25 starts. If he does have 25, it's exactly what he would have if he comes back for another year. So it'll improve his stock as well.
I agree. I'm with y'all there. If you're wondering who the top, just as a long range, who the top quarterbacks in the 26 draft are, prospects-wise,
like
Lenore Sellers from South Carolina is at the top, along with Nussmeier. And then the third guy in the group was Arch Manning, who has started 2 games, I think, and is going to be up there because of his talent and his name and all that. My point being that if Nussmeier comes back next year and you start looking at prospects for the 26th draft, he's going to be right at the top.
Now LSU can't come from the approach and say, hey, hey man, we're glad, just have you. He knows what they were throwing at Underwood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You got to sweeten the pot for Nussmeier,
and I think they will. I'm told that's
to his liking.
Yeah. I'm told that is not a problem. That would be taken care of.
And that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, it is. It is.
But you see, like an Anthony Richardson, where was he drafted? 5th?
4th.
Well, how can he improve his stock anymore?
He's not going to get drafted any higher than that.
You understand?
Or not much higher than that. So,
but
are you ready?
Could he? No. 100%. It's always been no. It's going to help you development. But if I'm going to get drafted here, why am I going to go back another year? The stock now, Charlie, Anthony Richardson this year will not get drafted for. He would not, because he doesn't have the starts. He had 1 year of starts. Nussmeier's got 1 year of starts. That hurts him.
Yeah,
that hurts him. I mean, the development, sure, the more you play, the more it's going to develop. And who doesn't agree with that? Who doesn't agree with that? But the stock, Richardson, 2 years later in a draft, not get drafted number 4.
Where do you think Jalen Milroe will get drafted?
Very close to the prospect. He's got more starts. He's got to 25 starts,
and probably will not. I expect 25 starts. I expect him to put himself in this draft, and I don't expect him to go anywhere near number 4. I still think he'll go in the first round, but
but he's got 4. The starts.
He does. The other thing what Nussmeier's got to consider, and I'm sure that they've had conversations with the coaching staff about this, is LSU will have to rebuild this offensive line, and that's a concern. Kelly hinted on Saturday night that there would be some players returning and making announcements this week that had already decided to return. He hinted that there's a possibility some of those could be along the offensive line. We'll see what that means. Regardless of that, they got to get in the portal. In my opinion, the most important thing in the portal outside of a quarterback is to get some experienced offensive linemen, some guys that have started in a Power 4 conference. They don't have to be superstars. They don't have to be all conference players, but I don't want to go in and start completely from scratch next year along the offensive line. So some experience, and if they can assure Nussmeier, hey, yeah, listen, some of our portal dollars are going to go towards offensive linemen, and these are the guys we've targeted. We've had a positive response. I think that'd go a long way too. We're here at Walkons in Brusly.
Man, beautiful weather.
Yeah, fantastic.
Take advantage of the weather. We got a big patio over here at Walk-Ons, plenty of TVs to watch all your games. What a college football season. Can't remember one like it. So I love when they say the NIL, well, the pay for play in the transfer portal has certainly changed things. And boy, I couldn't have been more wrong how it's changed things, level in the playing field. Distractions. But little rivalry weekend, we had them on all over here, all holiday weekend long over here at Walk-Ons in Brusly. When the weather gets right, we raise up these garage-style doors and had the best of both worlds. So eating indoors, covered, but also enjoying the open air. So it's a great setup over here at Walk-Ons in Brusly. Plenty of seasonal beers on tap as we get to the holiday season as well. And, man, look, the kitchen does a great job. The servers they run a tight ship at all of the Walk-Ons, especially over here at Walk-Ons in Brusly.
Live at Walk-Ons in Brusly, live at lunch, 104.5 ESPN Baton Rouge.
Live at lunch.
Benny's Car Washes.
Hey, Hanny. Hello? Mic check. My goodness. Hello?
Wash.com, December 2nd from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Shop local, shop Benny's.
By now, you know that we do our show every other Tuesday at the Crown Town Room at Dozy Place. The Crown Town Room is ideal for larger groups, or if you just want to watch the game on one of our 3 large TVs. Filet on the other, prepared at different temps if you like, bone in to maximize flavor. Dozy Place on Government Street, just off Acadian in the heart of Mid-City.
If you're tired of erosion and mud and want your lawn looking its best, winter is the easiest time to lay grass sod. Let Quality Sod help you select the perfect grass for your lawn. For features prices, call 610-4842 or QualitySod.com.
Electric Man of Baton Rouge is here to help with 24/7 residential and commercial electrical services. With years of experience, Electric Man aims to deliver fast and dedicated electrical services without compromising safety,